Please, what is that? Don't tell me. It's all in the Reflexes.
You're listening to All in the Reflexes, an unrepentant vivisection of geek news and culture.
It's all in the Reflexes.
With the comedy rock geek Mikey Mason, the Brack of all trades Jeb Brack, Madison Metricula Roberts, and tech guy Steve.
It's all in the Reflexes.
I know, there's a problem with your face.
Hello and welcome to All in the Reflexes. I'm Jeb Brack.
I'm Madison Metricula Roberts.
And this is Tech Guy Steve.
One quick announcement before we get started. We announced last time that there's a Kickstarter going on for an anthology, a role-playing game anthology that has to do with travel as it relates to role-playing games. It's called There and Back Again. And both Mikey and I are contributing pieces and efforts to it. That Kickstarter could still use your help. I'm hoping that the episode will hit the airwaves in time for you to pop on over to Kickstarter, and I hope that you will see fit to support it.
Now, is this a collection of stories or essays or what?
It is a bunch of different adventure pieces, essays, stories. So it's kind of a hodgepodge of things, but it all has the common themes of role-playing games and traveling.
Okay.
So the one that I'm contributing is an adventure based on a real-life castle in England. I'm not sure what Mikey will be doing, but that's the kind of thing that we're doing. So the way I'm thinking of doing it is, here's what the place looks like in real life. Here's what you could use, how I changed it to make an adventure out of it. So I still got to write the thing, but hopefully you'll kick out with some money and pay me for doing so. So that would be great.
Yeah, the project ends April 19th.
Yep. So please hop on over there if you think that would be something. Take a look at all the authors that we've got, because we've got some real RPG pros as well as minor league celebrities like Mikey, myself, Dan Reppinger, a bunch of other folks. So I think you'll like it. Now, today, personally, was my youngest daughter's 18th birthday. I am charging towards empty nest syndrome.
Yeah, the youngest.
I know, right?
Wow.
She is going to be going to Lake Forest College in Chicago in the fall. We got that all ironed out. But since it was her birthday today, we took her and a bunch of her friends to see Isle of Dogs, which we talked about last time as far as whether it was cultural appropriation or what. As per our discussion, and obviously I'm not the final arbiter on this, but in my opinion, I don't think it's cultural appropriation, because they're not taking anything away from the people, of Japan. They're just using Japanese story elements to drive the story. But I can see where you might call this culturally insensitive. For example, they use taiko drumming, the great big drums with 3 or 4 guys all banging on these huge drums for some of the music. And of all the taiko drummers that they credited in the credits, only one of them had a recognizably Japanese name. All the rest had very Western names. Now, maybe they're all Japanese descendants. I don't know. But that just seemed a little weird to me. Just as a...
But what about the story elements? Were the Japanese portrayed in these overly broad stereotypes?
A couple of them kind of were. But since there were so many Japanese people portrayed, there was a broad range of them. So it's not as though there was just every Japanese was the same stereotype. Each one had their own particular quirks, and a couple of them were very kind of stereotypical looking. But like I said, I think that Wes Anderson has takes way too much care with his movies to have put stuff in there just by accident. Everything is in there for a reason. That it's all thought out. The look, the story, the way they do the languages and things like that. All of it's there for a reason. I'm just not sure I understand what those reasons are, and so it left me with some questions. I mean, why is there an American character who leads this resistance movement in Japan against the status quo? Why is that because she's an exchange student,
Is
an
it
American.
like a white savior kind of thing? In
That's
this movie
a
about
little.
puppet dogs.
Yeah, that's a little like what it felt like. Is that there's an American exchange student leading a resistance movement to a government program. And wow, really? Why? So I did not get that, but I think there's a reason why. I just don't know what it is.
Interesting.
So I think you're going to have to see it, make up your own mind. And like you said, Steve, I think that the reaction coming from Japanese people who have seen it is kind of mixed. So I don't think there's a conclusive way to come down on it one way or the other. Watch it. I thought it was cute. I thought it was a cute little movie that didn't always make a lot of sense to me. So that explains pretty much every Wes Anderson as far as I'm concerned. Madison, what's up with you?
I've had a busy week. By the time this airs, I will have had my first song get released on The Fump, which is the Funny Music Project.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. One of my goals for this year was to get a song on The Fump that wasn't political or sex humor, because that's a lot of what I do too. So I'm trying to branch out into children's music.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So by the time this airs, that would have come out, and I made a corresponding music video, which is it's for my song Meow Near, which is about how when cats sit on your lap and you don't want to move them, it's like being pinned down by Mjolnir and you're not worthy to shift them. And I had my friends send me pictures of their actual cats, and
nice.
I organized them into a glorified slideshow as the music video for the song. So
very nice.
We'll have links to that. I'm very excited. And other in brief news, we had our streamer song swap assignments for Volume 2. Volume 1 was a collection of like 20-some songs where different Twitch streamers wrote original songs, and then we swapped, so we covered each other's songs. And we recorded this as an album, so everybody did their own tracks, and then we put it together as an album for download on Bandcamp. And all of the proceeds to that go to the Mr. Holland's Opus Foundation for Music in Schools. And we're going to be repeating that fundraiser this year, so that project just got off the ground today. So, hype.
Sweet. Yep, everybody go on over, contribute a little money, and then watch a video about cats as well.
Yeah, I got a lot going on. You can do a lot of stuff.
Absolutely. Steve, how about you, man?
Well, the weather's changed, which is nice.
Yeah.
It's actually not exactly warm, but it's not terrible either. But I'm trying something new. So for years now, I've been watching Crunchyroll to get my anime fix.
Sure.
And I had problem reaching them one day. They're a streaming service. The bandwidth is limited. And so they recommended upgrading to VRV. It's a different website. The URL is vrv.co. And I wasn't willing to do anything until I dug through all the FAQs and the explanations. And they do not do a very good job of explaining this. I had to really dig in there. I would have signed up for this 2 years ago if I had known. But so it is put together by Crunchyroll. And the upgrade includes, let's see, I'll count, 13 channels, something like that, all streaming. And Crunchyroll's one of them. So if you upgrade, like I think Crunchyroll's like $6 a month, this is $10 a month. So it's only an extra $4. You get 12 more streaming channels.
And is it 12 streaming channels of stuff you want to see?
A lot of it is. Because
that sounds like a cable bundle to me, and no thanks.
Yes. But if it's stuff you like, then...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, not all of it, but a lot of it. So they've got Geek and Sundry. So all this stuff being produced by the Geek and Sundry crew is on there. They've got Mondo, and they do a bunch of funny cartoons. They're not animated, they're just funny. Including Cyanide and Happiness is on one of the channels. But plus they have Crunchyroll and they have Funimation. So there's 2 anime
double
channels.
Whammy there.
Cartoon Hangover.
Well, how many home shopping channels? How many country?
Yeah, nothing like that.
How many country music?
Hangover, that does Bee and Puppy Cat, right? That's good stuff.
Yep, that's right. Puppy Cat. Tested, which I think is what is that? Hold on, let me just click on it. It's stuff that's like Adam Savage has a show on Tested. It's similar to what was that show he was on?
Mythbusters.
Thank you, Mythbusters. So it's kind of like how do it yourself and science put together. I mean, my point is there's a ton of stuff. Nerdist channel is on here.
Oh wow.
There's a horror called Shudder. I've been trying to watch
Shudder's
this movie
supposed to
from...
be really good.
Yeah, Guillermo del Toro made a movie many, many years ago called The Devil's Backbone. It's in Spanish. It's about a haunted orphanage during the Spanish Civil War. It always comes up on these lists of must-see movies, and I could never find a streaming service that had it available.
Sure.
It just never showed up on Netflix or Amazon Prime or any of the other ones. It's on Shudder. So as a side effect of getting VRV, I have access to that movie I've been trying to watch for a long time. So I'm not trying to sell it. I don't like the interface. The interface is not nearly as nice as Crunchyroll. It does have a Amazon Fire Stick app, so I'm able to stream it to my TV when I want to watch it on the TV. And then, of course, you can watch it on your phone or you can watch it on on your laptop. The interface is a little clunky, and there's still occasionally bandwidth issues, but it's everything I was seeing on Crunchyroll plus a lot more. So
excellent. Well, let's get on to some of the week's news.
And now for some more bad news. Ready?
In memoriam, we have a scientist. I didn't personally know that much about him, but his name was Richard Taylor. He's a Stanford physicist who won the Nobel Prize for discovering quarks, which is an entire family of fundamental particles. He died at the age of 88. A little blurb, it says, shortly after learning he'd won the Nobel Prize in physics, Richard Taylor stared at his reflection in a mirror. Quote, Murray Gell-Mann is smart. Dick Garwin is smart. He told himself, referring to two pioneering 20th century physicists. You are lucky. So he's a very self-effacing person. He's long since been a professor emeritus of physics. Anyways, a storied career made a huge impact on the field that he studies. So that's the passing of Richard Taylor.
Moving on to other geeky news that's going on. If you liked 2001: A Space Odyssey, especially the way it looked when it was released 50 years ago, they are releasing an unrestored 70mm print in theaters. So they took the original photographic negative, struck new prints from it, and they are showing it exactly the way it looked 50 years ago in theaters without any digital restoration. It's just completely old school.
It's kind of a cool idea.
It's neat. That sounds very cool, and people are really
I'm sure we'll also
that.
sit there and how this. So that's why they digitally restore films.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. But no, I think this will be like the vinyl of movies.
Yes.
Sure.
The hipsters will flock to this sucker.
I was like, man,
I'll
this
have
makes
to
me
get
wanna...
I'll get my super thick eyeglasses and my man bun ready.
I was going to say, I'll get my cassettes. I'm really into cassettes now.
No. I'm going to get my old film projector out of the attic. We're going to...
Hard to believe that was 50 years ago.
I know.
It's older than me, and it's kind of been part of the world my entire life.
Yes, indeed. I mean, well, I'm older than 50, but I don't remember when it came out. I mean, it was just part of the world, but yeah. So if you want to see what the 60s kind of looked like, there you go.
Well, for a different take on a technological future, feel bad for Atlanta. They got hit with a ransomware attack, and that's that. We've talked about it. You download a program and or somehow the attacker has access to your systems and they encrypt all of your information and they make you pay them to decrypt your own data.
Yeah.
If you don't pay them, you can't decrypt it. Usually the solution is to have good backups and just, kiss it goodbye, delete it, clean your systems and restore from backups.
Right.
But apparently Atlanta can't do that for whatever reason. The part that's really funny,
they put all their backups in the airport baggage claim.
Oh,
yeah.
no.
So the part that's ridiculous is that the cyber attackers published this unredacted letter where they're asking for the money in bitcoins, and they said it's approximately $51,000 worth of bitcoins. And because they put the payment portal, it got hammered. And so they had to take the payment portal down. So by the time the Atlanta, city official IT department tried to make the payment, the portal wasn't even available for them to make the payment.
No.
It's not clear what's going to happen, and supposedly there's like a countdown timer. They're being threatened to have everything deleted if they don't pay. So this kind of I don't know, running IT battle for the city of Atlanta.
Yeah, this is what Shadowrun and Cyberpunk looks like in real life. It's really boring.
Yeah, nothing like a calm computer looking at you out of a big red eye.
Yeah, that's
nothing
right.
like that.
That's right.
Well, talk about big red eyes as if they are sore. Mine are sore just thinking about having to watch the Roseanne revival, which premiered last night, or Tuesday night, as of this recording. Apparently, the people really, really wanted to see this. And in fact, President Trump touted how happy he was that the ratings were so high from a speech in Ohio this week, because we're living in a dystopia.
Yeah. Did either of you ever watch Roseanne when it was on?
I remember
the first
she
time?
yelled a lot.
Yeah, I watched a few episodes.
Yeah.
It wasn't really my thing.
No, me neither. I also watched it. Now, I think that Roseanne has always been on the conservative side of most issues politically. And so in the series, I'm given to understand, she is playing a Trump voter and her husband is not, right? I think John Goodman is not. And then I think that mirrors their actual relationship, is that she is a Trump voter and he is not. Am I getting that right?
I don't even know.
I'm so drained and so very
I know that some people are
tired.
comparing it against All in the Family, Archie Bunker,
Right.
because he was the conservative and his family was liberal. And so some people are saying, look, see, it's just kind of a modern re-imaging of that. The problem is that All in the Family was meant as a satire. He was supposed to be
He was the joke.
Yes, and it didn't come off that way. That was one of the, I guess that's a version of Poe's Law. A big chunk of America identified with Archie, not his wife and son-in-law.
Right.
So anyways, they keep on bringing that up when in discussing the new Roseanne.
I want to mention this just really briefly, that idea that, like, if you make art that may be satirical in nature or you're trying to do something, there are people that might identify with the opposite meaning of what you intended. And that's kind of, like, nerve-wracking as, like, an artist or somebody, like, or there was a video game, it was an awful pickup artist video game that somebody reviewed on YouTube, and the person reviewing it was like, this is awful, never do this is basically assault. But he was still, like, going through the game to, like, figure out what, like, all the things that were wrong with it. But even in publicizing it, there were people in the chat that were like, well, I mean, some of those are pretty good tips. Like, I mean, don't. And it's like, no, this is not good tips. This is, like, things like, cut her off on her path so she can't walk past you without interacting with you first so that you can get a chance to do blah, blah, blah. It was just, So I can see that. I don't know. There's a lot going on. I don't understand.
There's a lot
Roseanne.
to unpack here.
Well,
but,
who was it? Who had a special prediction about this?
Yes.
No. I was. Yeah, my mea culpas. I thought it was terrible. I thought this was a show that nobody wanted, and apparently I was 120% wrong.
Yeah.
I agreed with you. Nobody wanted this, and yet here we are.
Yeah.
I like this endorsement. Tom Arnold, which is Roseanne's ex, not a big Roseanne fan, but he said, quote, "If I can watch it, so can you." And he's saying that it's a very watchable, fun show.
Are you sure? Because it sounds to me like, if I have to watch it, so do you.
Yeah, not that it matters, but that's kind of what soured me on Roseanne. Is and then she had an HBO special. It was all it had to do with the divorce. It's just weird. I guess I can describe more of it in the "There's a Problem with Your Face." But her behavior before and after the divorce to Tom was so egregious, was so, and then she had this really kind of vicious, bitter HBO stand-up special, and I was just like, that ain't funny. That person needs help.
Yep. So let's move on and talk about something else. Yeah.
Okay, totally different topic, a little more highbrow. We did the lowbrow thing. We'll do a highbrow. An American is qualified for world chess title. American Fabiano Caruana.
Yeah.
Caruana.
We're butchering it, but
It'll be in the show notes.
Yeah. Click the link. He's a Miami-born, Brooklyn-raised And he's 25 years old. He gets to face Magnus Carlsen for the world title in November. And the reason why it's a special of note, first American, it says, no American has held the world championship since 1972, which was Bobby Fischer. So, who knows? There's a chance he could bring that back, and America would once again hold the world championship in chess.
Yeah, and I'm sure that all those Roseanne watchers are just holding their breath for that. So,
and he's 25. That could be a long career too.
Yeah, that's true. You know, if he doesn't pull a hamstring or something. So let's get back to Hollywood weirdos, shall we? Corey Feldman has had since being a child actor, has had a storied and often difficult life.
Yeah.
He's 46 years old now, and he has been released from the hospital after claiming that he was attacked and stabbed in his car in Los Angeles. He said that a wolf pack of Hispanic men approached his car, opened the door, and attacked him with something, which his lawyer now says he believed he was stabbed with a syringe by someone.
Initially, he claimed it was a knife.
Right. Well, and then, LAPD are investigating. Feldman claims that he believes that this is in retaliation for his allegations of Hollywood pedophilia. He is said to be working on a movie or something where he's going to name names of Hollywood pedophiles and things like that. And so I don't know. I really don't know what to believe because, like I said, he's had a very difficult several years, with lots of things going on around him, and so it's hard to say exactly how much credence to give all this.
Well, Corey Haim died, a few years ago, or was it longer? Yeah, and I don't know. I am based on other stuff. It's I am very much predispositioned to believe that there were abuses against child actors.
Sure.
Were pretty rampant in Hollywood, but I also believe that probably he's traumatized, has a lot of problems, and not
a
everything,
history of drug abuse.
Right,
sure.
Not everything is going to make sense, even though I think there are other things that do make sense. So it's just such a sad situation.
Corey Haim died in 2010.
Okay.
Yeah,
there
you go.
Not too long, yeah. So,
well, the thing of it is that the story sounds pretty wild. The treatment that he was undergoing, I think, found no serious injuries, that he had no serious injuries, which may be why they thought it was a syringe instead. But here's the thing. No matter how crazy his account of the whole thing sounds, this is Hollywood. It could have happened. It could have happened just this way, and he sounds a little crazy because he kind of is. But still, bad stuff can happen to crazy people. So it's hard to.
Yeah.
Whether it's really for the reasons he says it is, I don't know.
But that's a good way to put it. Bad stuff can happen to crazy people.
Well, absolutely. I mean, I think it ought to be investigated to the fullest extent. But boy, I hope that he's not right. I hope that he's not being attacked and people trying to kill him.
By wolf packs of Hispanic men with armors.
Yeah, it's the way he phrases it and the way he describes it that's what makes it sound nutty. But I mean, he went to the hospital and he went to the police with it, so he's doing what he should do if something like that actually happens. So,
well, let's talk about some good stuff happening to good people.
Okay.
Star Trek star marries Leonard Nimoy's son, and this really threw me. Leonard Nimoy's son, Adam Nimoy, he's the one who recently did a documentary about his father.
Oh yeah.
It just got married to actress Terry Farrell, who, among many other roles, was Lieutenant Commander Jadzia Dax on Deep Space Nine.
All right.
They're both older, mature people. I always had a huge crush on her. I thought she was gorgeous. And I always, the character idea was brilliant. And my mom loved that character too, where it's like a symbiote. And so, the symbiote knew the commandant of the station in a previous body. So the commandant always called this young, attractive woman old man. And it was just this cute kind of acknowledgement that I've known you for multiple hosts, almost like I've known you for multiple lifetimes. And it's a very, very cool idea.
Awesome.
It was sad when they wrote her out. She didn't want to be. She wanted to leave. I forgot why. I don't know if she was having a kid or something. And she said, you don't have to kill me. Just temporarily give me this leave. They were like, nope. And her character died, and then they transferred the symbiote to a new actress, a new character, so another actress could take over.
It just seems like Jadzia Dax was such a popular character to write off, too. I mean...
I know.
Well, but
she's been very popular on the what do you call it, the convention circuit. So she speaks at Star Trek and fantasy conventions, and she's one of the fan favorites because she has these fantastic stories about her time on set.
Yeah, well, have either of you guys, I know I've recommended it, but have either of you guys read Red Shirts by John Scalzi?
No.
It's a really great science fiction novel about people in a world like Star Trek who figure out that they are being written as part of a TV show. And because they're dying off in the stupidest ways. And this is kind of what it seems like, is that, they get people in there and then they kill them off for maximum dramatic effect. I mean, and to do it with a character that's popular and a regular rather than just a red shirt who's on for one episode or somebody who's on only for a couple so that you can get to know him before you kill him. That's lots of drama, That's huge drama. Plus, then you get to transplant the symbiote, and so you still have the same character, but it's just Dr. Hood. That you've got a new form.
Dr. Hood.
Yeah, it's been Hood up. That the character comes back, but it's in a different actor's body. So,
it says that Terry Fowler was born in '63, so that would make her 7 years older than me.
Yeah. Well. So she was out of your league, is what you're saying.
Oh.
Well,
she was out of my league 20 years ago.
Right.
Cheers to them, and may they be happy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So there's no mystery about their love, but there is a mystery about who bit Beyonce. So
what?
This is one
there
of
is?
the frothiest.
How is this a thing, man?
So the beautiful thing is that some of this was revealed in a GQ profile of Tiffany Haddish, who is hilarious. She's a comedian and actress. She's great. She was one of the best things that's been on SNL this season, of an overall fairly bland season. But she's just got a lot of personality. She, doesn't take any crap from anybody, and she's just very, very cool, very stylish, very down to earth. She made this. I'm prefacing all this stuff about Tiffany Haddish for what I'm about to tell you. She bought a really fancy red carpet dress, and she's like, "I'm going to wear this dress more than once," and she does. She's like, "I look good in this dress. I'm going to do so." So Tiffany Haddish,
good for her.
Oh yes, so good. She there's some other details we'll get to, but she reportedly witnessed another actress biting Beyonce on the face or her
at some
ear.
party
There's mixed
or
reports. Something. Yeah, at like a party or bar, and she can't tell us who because she's under an NDA. But like the who bit Beyonce mystery is like driving Twitter right now because it's one of the only good things because like nobody was seriously injured. But like it's just. And now everybody's like, who bit Beyonce? Who could it have been?
Yeah, all the sleuths will come out trying to look at all these photos, figure out who was at that party or whatever.
Oh, man, we got lots of red yarn lines going between. It's like everything you could want for a relatively female interest sort of conspiracy theory.
Yeah, the TMZ Zapruder film.
Oh my God, we are living in a golden age of Twitter sleuths. So it's... Do I care who bit Beyonce? No. But do I care that who bit Beyonce is a thing?
Yes.
Absolutely. So I'm glad that Queen Bee was not injured.
Yeah, that's right.
But anyway, that whole profile of Tiffany Haddish is just a delight.
It was.
So if you're not familiar with her, you should be. Yeah. Also read this. It's just she just phrases everything because she's funny. It's like I love interviews with comedians or people that are really witty with like turns of phrase, and it's just like bam, bam, bam. So hats off to Hats off to Tiffany.
So you know what I was thinking is that I went to the movies today, and I know that there were trailers before the movie, but I don't know what a single one of them was. I cannot remember, so I probably am not going to see any of those. Steve, do you have any trailers that we can trash?
This will make for one epic trailer.
I watch one on YouTube. I love going through every couple months and watching the latest trailers. And a lot of them are just make me sad. like, really, this is somebody handed you a chunk of money in the millions. This is the best you can do. But this one is kind of intriguing. It's called The Darkest Minds. We'll have a link to the trailer. Apparently it's based on a book. It kind of, this is just my 2 cents. It looks like, X-Men meets the Maze Runner. It's definitely post-apocalyptic. They say right up, all the children have died. So something happened and all the children in the world died except a small group, and the small number of children who didn't die were changed. And they all have kind of X-Men-like powers. And so kind of the government races in there, clamps them down for their safety and their, the safety of society. And the series, at least again, this is all from the trailer, so I really don't know what the plot is, but it looks like they're trying to fight their way to freedom. And so what you guys think is
and be a resistance movement. Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, all the kids are good looking kids, and the effects look kind of neat and stuff like that, but it does not look like anything I have not seen before. Mm-hmm. It looks very much like, there was a comic book series that came out when I was in college called Cyforce or something like that. It was about exactly this. Kids with mental powers that are being hunted by the government. Okay, cool. But it just looks like that crossed with another, like you said, a dystopian future kind of a thing. And so it looks to me like a cash grab to get superheroes. Okay, here's the pitch. Okay, here it is. It's superheroes like Avengers, right?
Yeah, good stuff.
But we're gonna cross it, with like Hunger Games, right?
Oh,
so
popular
it's
stuff.
so we're gonna get the tweens and the the millennials in here that like that stuff, but we're also gonna get in the comic book nerds, okay? And those are the people who are doing the money. So that's what it looks like to me. I don't have a whole lot of interest in seeing this.
I don't even think it's for...
Yeah, and again, maybe the book series is better. The author is named Alexandra Bracken, and obviously her books must have been popular enough, to get this treatment.
Maybe, but I mean, the really big hit series have all been snapped up.
Oh, yeah.
And so this might be, lower down in the success brackets.
There's something with your face. Remind me to tell you about the book I read that was advertised as Love the Hunger Games, read this book. And it was for $1 on my Facebook feed. And I'm like, this is going to be awful. And it's called The Gender Games. And it's, I'll just briefly...
50 Shades of Hunger.
Yeah. No, on one side of a river, there's a dystopian society.
No. You're spoiling problem with your face.
Oh, well, there's a river, and to find out what's on either side of this river, you have to come to there's a problem with your face. Okay. It's so bad. Yeah, this just seems bland, and I don't think it's like for millennials. I mean, a lot of millennials are like 30,
No, that's true. That's true.
Whatever came
after
things after.
The post-millennials.
Yeah.
That's right. The dystopials.
Kinda. I mean, like that's the YA fiction a lot of that group is grown up on is like Hunger Games era stuff.
Exactly right. I mean, I thought you guys had all given up on this and were out protesting gun laws. I mean, that's where you ought to be. That's where we need you, not watching this movie.
On the shoulders of kids, man.
Yep. So there we go. We'll let you know as more the darkest minds as we get closer to it. But
yeah, how about you though? Have you watched anything? Perhaps a long overdue movie review.
This is your review. Well, you're late.
I've been listening to this podcast called Friendly Fire. It's on the Maximum Fun Network, and it's 3 dudes who watch war movies and then talk about them both as movies and as history. And
that's kind of a cool idea. That's different.
And it is. It's a neat podcast. I have seen all but like one of the movies that they've reviewed already. So I like a good war movie. I have seen lots of war movies, but this was a new one on me. It showed up on Amazon, and it's called The Eagle Has Landed from 1976. Now, contrary to the title, it is not about the moon landing. Instead, it is a World War II ensemble movie, right? So it's an ensemble cast with a big mission, and the training montages and all that stuff. And now the cast is awesome. It's like a who's who. It's Michael Caine. It's Donald Sutherland. It's Robert Duvall. It's Donald Pleasance.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so all these guys who have been in every, 70s and 60s war movie ever, right? But here's the twist, see? They're all the Nazis. Okay? They're all playing Nazis who are sent to kidnap or assassinate Winston Churchill in England. I know. I'm just like, you have got to be kidding me.
I have never heard of this.
Probably because it's a little problematic, because they're the good guy Nazis. They play good guy Nazis, except for Donald Pleasance, who plays Himmler, and he's still an evil scumbag. But they're soldiers. They're just good soldiers trying to accomplish this mission that's been given to them by their obviously insane leadership. But when it looks like they might pull it off, they have enough soldierly pride that they want to. They want to get the job done, and that's all they're trying to do. But they're Nazis. And they're good guy Nazis the way they're exposed, because their mission goes totally wrong. Obviously, it never doesn't come off. But they're exposed. They go into England wearing Polish uniforms over their Nazi uniforms, so they're not really spies. See, but they're exposed when this little kid falls in a mill stream, and one of the Nazis jumps in to save her, and he is killed. But in the meantime, it exposes his Nazi uniform, and so all the villagers suddenly know they're Nazis. So then they're just fighting the good fight. They've got their mission to do. And I'm just like, this is totally messing with my mind. I mean, it is totally destroying my mind. On the Allied side, because of course, you've got the Americans and the British. You've got Treat Williams as the heroic American commander, but he is and Jeff Conaway playing a soldier. He's from Taxi. Playing a private soldier who gets his throat cut. But then their commander is Larry Hagman as the world's stupidest ranger colonel. And so what I think this movie is about the idiocy of leadership and having to follow orders, but still wanting to do a good job. I think
so. On both sides, they have bad leadership.
Exactly right, and they're doing their very best. Michael Caine and his men get sent on this mission because they try to save a Jew from going to a concentration camp, and the
Nazis with a heart of gold.
Well, exactly right. Exactly right.
To be fair, the regular army were conscripted and fought in their nation's war. I think you can make that delineation between the SS, the High Command,
100%.
the Nazi Party, plus just the regular soldiers.
100%. But these are the guys who are sent on this mission are better than ordinary soldiers. They're the elite, but they're elite soldiers. They're not SS stormtroopers.
Got it.
So they have great pride in serving Germany and doing their very best, and they want to win, but they also know that they're never going to.
Nuts.
Yeah, and then every one of them, all the Germans, I don't suppose spoilers really matter, but they all get killed. If not in battle, then by their leadership, who are suspicious and don't want to have competent people under them, and so they get shot by firing squad. So I think that's what the idea of this was. It's kind of that counterculture idea of our armed forces, is that they're trying to show the idiocy of leadership on both sides.
Got it.
But yeah, I had a real hard time sympathizing with those guys who were just trying to do their jobs. Yeah.
Where did you find the movie? Where was it showing?
On Amazon Prime, baby.
Amazon, okay.
Yep. It just turned up because, I watch the occasional war movie and it says, if you like that, you'll like this. And I'm like, the eagle has landed. I've heard of a lot of, I've heard of Where Eagles Dare. That's a great World War II movie. I've heard of a lot of different, I never heard of this one. Why not? Well, now you know. Because this is not one that makes it to TV a lot, I don't believe.
Yeah, what I want to know is, why? Why does this happen?
Well, you said it. It's got that subversion built in, and kind of the soldier versus his bad leadership.
Right.
And a lot of anti-war. In 1976, a lot of Americans would still be very upset about the Vietnam and the huge sacrifice of young men.
Yeah.
So.
But at the same time, I could not get behind the Germans. I mean, the performances were good; they were convincing to me, but I was not on board with that story. So, give it a look. I mean, just for completeness' sake.
Are you listening, Hollywood? Here's another property you can remake.
Yeah, that's right. That's my.
Yeah, get those good Nazi movies.
Yeah, we were talking about people liking it for the wrong reasons.
Well, we did have one with Tom Cruise, right? The assassination attempt against Hitler.
Yeah.
And tell me that wasn't a good Nazi movie. A movie about a Nazi soldier with...
Well, it was about a heroic German soldier who hates what the Nazis have done to his country. And so he leads the assassination. He leads the assassination attempt against Adolf Hitler, which really happened.
Yes.
But I think by that point it was the German high command going, oh man, we have lost this war. We have got to make whatever terms we can. Yeah. It was not because of, it is the right thing to do. We must, no, come on. You could have done that early and saved us all a lot of trouble. But anyway, the Eagle has landed. 1976.
I'll pass.
Give it a shot. So I watched a weird movie. What weird anime are you watching, Steve?
スティーブはとってもくだらない人でアニメを見るんです。What weird anime is Steve watching this week?
So apparently, Funimation has the anime with dubs, and Crunchyroll has them with subs. And I should have looked more carefully. I prefer subs, but I ended up watching this thing dubbed, so all English voice acting. It's called Binet Ren Mei.
Okay.
And it would take me an hour to explain this. It's 13 episodes. It just goes on, and I tried explaining it to my wife, and just I was killing her here. I don't even know where to start. I will say it was a strange, beautiful, mysterious show. It's worth watching. It has a strange premise, very
if you're
surreal.
Tripping balls.
Yeah. So it opens up with this, it was an abandoned school that's now being populated by these creatures called Binet. And they look exactly like humans, but they have vestigial wings on their backs and a halo. And it starts with a cocoon in one of the rooms, and that's where they come from. Some little seed floats down from the sky, lands in this building, and sprouts and turns into a cocoon, and then the Hibinets on the inside, and the cocoon breaks, and they come out. And they come out at whatever, I don't know how to say, whatever age. Like the one in this story, Raka, comes out, she looks like she's maybe 15. And she can speak, and she knows how to tie her shoes, and it's weird. So obviously they have memories of some previous life. Mm-hmm. But she has no memory of the life. So she doesn't know her name, her family, where she's from, or anything that happened to her before the cocoon. But she has all of the skills, like the skills of how to ride a bike, or how to tie your shoelaces, or how to speak English, or whatever language they were using there.
Is this like a Born Sexy Yesterday kind of situation, or?
No, there's no sexual content whatsoever in the entire series.
It's just...
they don't come out with halo or the wings. The wings happen later. They get these kind of blisters on their back that burst, and then the wings actually poke through the skin and have to be treated.
Puberty.
And the halo scene was bizarre. They actually bring this it looked almost like a donut maker, and it has like molten metal in it, and the metal is cooling, and they like pick out the halo with tongs, and they just like put it over their head, and it gets like locked in magnetically.
Huh.
Okay.
And so for the rest of the time these Hibernate are running around, they've got this glowing metal halo a couple inches off their head. When they're sleeping, everything. It's just so exactly like what. So where are they? They apparently are in some type of European town. You can only guess that from things like Roman numerals, the clock faces, the architecture. It looks like perhaps Italy. It could be other places, but the architecture reminded me a lot of a little town in Italy. The town has a giant wall around it. No one ever leaves. You can never ever leave.
That's because outside the walls, they're in our modern world, Steve.
Well,
Spoilers.
it may be. But that was the other question. I was saying, okay, so here's where it is. Now, when is it, right? They have windmills that generate electricity. They have gasoline-powered scooters. I believe they have telephones. I don't know if I can confirm that or not. They definitely have, electric lights. They even have, like, fluorescent lights in one scene.
Huh.
So this is not the ancient past. It doesn't appear to be the distant future, but I couldn't tell.
It doesn't sound like steampunk either. Which is
not steampunk.
Yeah.
Angel punk?
And so
what's going on here? This is
it's angel punk. I love it. That would be an excellent way of describing this. So the whole point of the show is the mystery. What are Hibernate, and what are they here to do? And they talk about, whatever. You'd have to watch it. It is beautiful, peaceful, what do you call it? Prosaic. And then the plot is very slow because it's this, the kind of like moral, ethical dilemmas and the emotional. That seems to be the theme, in my opinion, is depression and perhaps even suicide. It's kind of overcoming depression, through emotional connection with your friends. And again, there is zero sexual content of any kind.
Mm-hmm.
Right,
even though there are male Hibernate, right? But there's no dating. There's never shown anything like that.
Well, then we should move on to There's a Problem with Your Face, where there's tons of sexual content.
Yeah, gender games.
and no halos.
No halos, damn it.
So,
all right. Well, that does it for this episode of All in the Reflexes. If you would like to follow us over to the other side of the river, to There's a Problem with Your Face land, how can they find their way there, Steve?
You flap your vestigial wings over to aitrpodcast.com. You have links or show notes for every episode, and links to our social media like Twitter and Facebook and Patreon, where for as little as $1 a month, you get twice the content.
Excellent. So please do that and then join us over there. Until then, I'm Jeb Brack.
I'm Madison Metricula Roberts.
This is Tech Guy Steve.
And we'll talk to you next week.